Hi, welcome to my video on the review of a system of linear equations. That's videos 1 to 17. Again, as in all my reviews, it's treated as a quiz, whereas this one is marked at a 40. And there is one of 6 pages is the first one, and there's 5 more. So if you want to stop the video and get 5 blank pages to work out the problems, then do so. And remember, you can mark each question and give yourself marks and total up each page and then get your percentage at the end. Here we go. Match column A with column B. Column A is the system of 2 variables, and the name is inconsistent, consistent independent, consistent dependent. Column B is the number of solutions. An inconsistent system is a pair of parallel lines, so it has C, none, no solutions. Consistent independent has 1 solution, so the answer is A. Consistent independent is a pair of lines that intersect at a point. And consistent dependent is, on a graph, it's the same line, there's only one line, so it has many solutions. But it can have different equations to represent that line. Okay, number 2, match column A with column B. This is column A, and this is column B, is the name of the equation. So this is column A, and this is column B. Okay, we have a single variable linear. We got single variables and double variables, linear and quadratic. So a single variable linear means you have 1 variable, so that would be this one, which is 1 variable, or this one, which has 1 variable. But single variable linear would be this one right here. And a single variable quadratic linear is degree 1, so quadratic is a single variable has a degree, quadratic has a degree of 2. And a double variable linear is right there. That's a double variable because there's 2 variables, x and y, and it's linear because the degree of each variable is 1. And the double variable quadratic is double variable x and y, and the quadratic is degree 2. So there it is right there. So again, linear has a degree of 1, quadratic has a degree of 2. Express 8x minus 2y minus 6 equals 0 in slope y-intercept form. Slope y-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. That means I have to solve the equation for y. So 2y equals negative 8x plus 6. The y goes on the left, and the x and the constant goes on the right. We divide by negative 2 in each term. It cancels out to give me y equals 4x minus 3. So that's the equation in slope y-intercept form, where 4 is the slope, negative 3 is the y-intercept if you had the graph. Number 4, I forgot, if you got 3 of these right, give yourself 3 marks. If you got the 4 of them right, give you 4 marks. And if you have this one solved correctly, then you have 1 mark. Now we have the graph. When we graph, we have y equals mx plus b, so the slope is negative 1/3, the y-intercept is 2. So we plot the y-intercept first, which is right here. The y-intercept on the y-axis is 2. And the slope is rise over run, so we got a negative 1 over 2. So from this 2, we will rise, that means go up or down. We go down 1, and we run 2. We go down 1, run 2. And when we got these points plotted, we can draw a line passing through these points. And let's line it up. There it is. So that's the line that passes through these 3 points. So that line has a y-intercept of 2, and we go down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. Or we want, instead of going down, we can go up 1, left 2. Should go to right there. So give yourself a mark. And if you have it graphed correctly and total up the page, you get 9. Number 5, is -2, 3 a solution of this system? Well, one of the easiest ways is to write down the equation and sub in the values of x and y. And if we do, we get a -6 plus 12 equals 6, 6 equals 6, true. But it has to be true for both equations, because sometimes we can make an error and it'll be true for one equation, but not for the other. So I'm putting a -2 in, so it's -2 for x, and there's a 3 for y. It's 2 minus 3 equals 1. -1 equals 1, and it's no. Yeah, notice it's true for the first one, but it's not true for the second one. So is this a solution? No, because it has to be true for both. So if you did this one, and you got this one right, give yourself a mark. Get this one correct, give yourself a mark. No is the final answer. Number 6, state the name of the system of equations. State the name of this system. So we have, notice we have looks like a pair of parallel lines. The pair of parallel lines is inconsistent. Consistent independent is a pair of intersecting lines at a point. Consistent dependent is only one line, even though we can have many different equations representing that line. So give yourself a mark if you're right. State the values of m and b if the system is consistent dependent. Consistent dependent is one line. So if it's one line, that means it has to have the same slope. So it has to have the same slope and same y-intercept if it's the same line. Okay, so the slope is 4 and b is 7. So consistent dependent has to have the same slope. So m has to be 4 and b has to be 7. Give yourself 2 marks if you got that right. Number 8, state the value of k if the lines intersect. So 2 lines intersect, and they intersect, 2 lines intersect at a point. Let's say whatever that point is. It might not be, don't have to be exactly true here. If 2 lines intersect, then they have to have different slopes. So that means 3k is equal to 12 divided by 3. That means k equals 4. So if k is 4, they'll have the same slopes, but we can't have that. So that means k is not equal to 4. So that means k is not equal to 4. What does that mean? K not equal to 4 means k can be any number except 4. That means the lines will intersect. So if you solved here and got 4 and said not equal to 4, or k is like that with that expression, or if you roll it out, then give yourself 2 marks, 1 for 4 and 1 for making the statement. And total your page up. Hopefully you got 7 marks. Number 9, solve by graphing. That means we have to graph both equations. So let's look at the first equation and graph that one. We have a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of -2. Slope is 2 in front of the x, the y-intercept is -2. The slope is 2 over 1, so what we do, we plot the y-intercept of -2, which is right there. And the slope is 2 over 1, so rise 2, run 1, rise 2, run 1, rise 2, run 1. And we'll draw a line going through the points. There's the line. And now we have to graph the other one to see where that one. It's an x plus 2y equals 6. 2y equals negative x plus 6 divided by 2. Y equals negative 1 over 2x plus 3. That's a negative 1 understood to be right there. So it's a negative 1 over 2. So the slope is a negative 1/2. The y-intercept is 3. So we'll plot that line. Y-intercept is 3. 0 here, 1, 2, 3 right there. And the slope is negative 1 over 2 means down 1, right 2. Down 1, right 2. Down 1, right 2. So we'll draw the line going through those points. And we do. And when we do, notice that this is the point of intersection. So the point that we have is x is 2 and y is 2. So that's a 2, 2. So give yourself 2 marks if you graphed each line right, and give yourself 2 marks if you stated the point 2, 2. Number 10, solve by elimination. When we solve by elimination, this is equation 1. This is equation 2. Number 1 is perfect. I'm going to rewrite equation 2. So equation 2, when I solve by elimination, I like to have both equations like an x, a y equals a number. So 5x minus 2y equals 9. So now I have 2x plus 3y equals negative 4. Now I have 5x minus 2y equals 9. So just make sure the 5 moved over to become positive, the y didn't move, and the 9 moved over to become positive, because the x and y go on the left and the constant go on the right. And when we move them, we change signs because we're transposing. Now, this is equation 1. This is equation 2. I want to solve by elimination, so I'm going to, notice these are plus and minus, so I'm going to multiply this one by 2 and this one by 3. Because they're all plus and minus, I don't need a negative. So when I multiply 2 by each one of these terms, I get a 4x plus 6y equals negative 8. Multiply each term by 3. When you do, you keep it balanced. 3, perfect. Now when I have them done, I'm eliminating the y's cancel out, so I get 19x equals 19. Divide by 19, and x is 1. So I have one value of x is 1, so I can sub 1 into any one of these equations. So let's sub 1 for x into, let's sub it into number 1. Number 1 is lined up pretty good. I could sub it into y, because y is already where I want it, but either one will do. I'm subbing 1 in for x. And now I can solve. Multiply first before we add. Move the 2 over to become negative. Negative 6 divided by 3. So y is negative 2. So the solution is x is 1, y is negative 2. X is 1. So if you want to check, put, let's take the second equation and sub in negative 2y minus 9 is negative 5. So y is negative 2. And x is 1. That's 4 minus 9, negative 5. Negative 5 equals negative 5. So we put it in, we found the answer in number 1. So checking with number 2, everything is okay. So that's the solution. So if you know, for the method of working it out, line them up and you get two marks. If you did your method right, if you got each answer, you get another 2 marks. So 4 altogether. 8 for the page. Let's continue. Solve by substitution. That means we have to solve one of the equations for x or y. So the best one to do, let's take number 1, and this is number 2. Let's solve number 1 for y. Y got a 1 coefficient. And when we solve for y, we don't have to divide and get any fractions. So solve for y. And we got a -1, we multiply by -1, we get y equals -4x minus 13. So we're solving for y, so the -4x moved to the right to become positive. Multiplied everything by -1, so that's positive, negative, negative. We have it solved for y. Now we're going to sub -4x minus 13 for y. So we solve number 1, we have to sub into number 2. We solve number 1, so we sub into number 2. If we solve number 2, we always sub back into number 1. We solve for one equation, sub it back into the other. So we're subbing it in for y. So y is -4x minus 13. So notice in the place of y, we're putting in a -4x minus 13. Now we have to multiply first according to PEMDAS. Now I could make that a -8 there. 2 times -4, make that a -8. Minus 26 equals -4. Simplify. I like to simplify both sides before I transpose. -11x equals -4 plus 26. Let's go up here. -11x equals 22. Divide by -11. Cancels out. X equals -2. Now once we get one variable, the value of one, the variable x or y, we sub it into the easy equation. The easiest equation to put it in would be this one. Right here. I could sub it into this equation, number 1. I could sub it into number 2. It makes no difference. But this is the easiest one. Because I have x, plugging x in here gives me my y. So if I call this equation number 3, if you want, and say sub -2 4x into number 3. Really, I'm writing everything out to explain it so you can see it. So I'm subbing -2 for x. And we multiply first. That's a +8 minus 13. So y comes out to be -5. So the solution to this system is a -2, -5. X is -2, y is -5. So you can write it down as an ordered pair, or you can say x is -2, y is -5. Either or, you can write it down. And number 12, solve the system. Now solve means you can solve this whatever way you wish. Your choice. I didn't say elimination, I didn't say substitution. Notice that this equation is already solved for y. So if I call this number 1, and I call this number 2, number 2 equation is already solved for y. So I'm going to sub -10 plus 4x for y into number 1. So watch what happens. Since it's already solved for y, that means I got part of my work done. So -10 plus 4x. I'm subbing for y in here. So 8x minus 2 bracket, -10 plus 4x bracket equals 6. So now I got to multiply first a bit, PIMDAS. I get a 20 minus 8x equals 6. And I notice they cancel out. And I get 0 equals 6 minus 20. 0 equals negative 14. Notice the x's cancel out. I got 0 equals negative 14. Because the x's are on one side and the constants are on the other. 0 equals negative 14 is impossible. That means the solution set for this is the empty set. Or you could say no solution. Why would that be? There's no solution or the empty set, because if you solve both of these equations for y, you will get them the same slope. So if you take this equation right here, watch, take that equation. So this is equation 1. I'm solving it for y. Now notice this equation. Y. The slope of this equation is 4. The slope of this equation is 4, but they have different y-intercepts. So they are, what we say, they're parallel lines. And parallel lines do not intersect. They got the same slopes of 4, but different y-intercepts. So they're parallel lines, so there's no solution. Again, for the method here of working it out, subbing it in, whatever way, give yourself 2 marks. If you got the answer of empty set, give yourself 2 more marks, 4 altogether, 8 for the page. Let's continue. And we have number 13, solve. Again, we have to solve this one. And what we can do, this equation is already solved for y. What I should do, I have a lot of terms here. I should take this equation and simplify it. If I simplify it, then it's easier to work with, because as it is, it's going to be too many terms. So I get 3y minus 3 equals negative 30x minus 60. So notice I eliminated the brackets first. Then I simplify each side as far as possible. So I get a negative 30x plus 3. Now, if I line this equation up, I can leave it like that. Notice this equation is solved for y already. So that means I can, so if I want, I can go 30x plus 3y equals, let's do this first. Let's make it a nice equation. So now I got a perfect equation. And then I got an x, a y, and a number. So if you call this equation 1, this is equation 2. So this is the new equation. I'm going to call it 3. This is already solved for y. So I could sub that in here. So if I sub 5x minus 4y into number 3. So if I sub it into number 3, notice I made number 3 a better equation to sub into. So here we go. We're subbing in for y. So we got a 5x minus 4. So you get, let's go up here and finish it, 30x plus 15x minus 12 equals 6. And we tidy this up. Let's see. 15 minus 12. Perfect. So I get 45x minus 12 equals 6. That means I move the 12 to the right and change it to a positive. 45x equals 18. Divide by 45. And I get x is equal to 9 into 18 goes 2. 9 into 45 goes 5. So we have a solution. X is 2/5 and y is, oh, we don't have a y. So I got to go and sub back in to get my y. So y equals 5x minus 4. x is 2/5. So I'm subbing into number 1. I'm subbing 2/5 into number 1. So when you multiply, they cancel. So you get 2 minus 4 is negative 2. So I had the x. I'm going to write down the y, but I didn't have it. So subbing x in right here will give you the y. No need to sub it in here because you got to do a lot of work. No need to sub x equals 2/5 in here because I got a lot of work to do. It's better to sub it in here because it's already solved for y. So putting x here as a value gives you your y very quickly. Or you could have as an ordered pair like that, x and y. Number 14. 2k plus 2 and negative 3p minus 11 is a solution to this system. These got x's and y's. These got k's and p's. Find the value of k and p. So if that's a solution, that's the x value and that's the y value on this point. So that's the x and that's the y. That means I'm going to sub these two, take these two values of x. X is the 2k plus 2. So watch. Let's do one at a time. So x is 2k plus 2. Y is, just got to be careful. So that's what, this is the equation. This is number 1. This is number 2. So this is equation 1. So I'm subbing in this value of x. I'm subbing in this value of y, but the x has a k in it and the y has a p in it. If I get rid of the brackets by multiplying, and I got 4k minus 9p equals 7 minus 4 plus 33. 4k minus 9p, and I add all this up, I get a 3, I get a 36. And that means I'll do the same thing for number 2. X is 2k plus 2. Y is negative 3p minus 11. So notice I put brackets around these just to keep them like that, because there's the x, subtract, there's your subtraction sign, there's the y. I'm subtracting, so that's 2k plus 2. Now that subtraction makes this a positive 3p plus 11 equals 1. Notice I can go, that's when you subtract, you add on the opposite, but if I put a 1 here, negative 1 times negative 3 plus negative 1 times negative 11 plus 11. So that's 2k plus 3p equals 1 minus 2 minus 11. So keep going. This is an extra question. As you can see, that gives me a negative 12. Negative 1, negative 11, negative 12. Now I got two equations with a k and a p. So if I solve these equations, so 4k minus 2p equals 36. 2k plus 3p equals negative 12. So I'm solving this for k, so I can multiply. That's a negative 9. If I multiply this one by 3, then I'll get a positive 9, and I'm going to do it by multiply this one by 1. So that's 4k minus 9p equals 36. Multiply by 3, I get 6k plus 9p equals negative 36. So notice I multiply by 3 to get a positive 9. They cancel out. So I get 10k equals 0. Divide by 10. So k is 0. So I'm going to sub k back into either one of these two equations. So I have this one right here. So let's put k into I could put k equals 0 right here. I could put k equals 0 here. It makes no difference. So I put a 0 in for k and find the value of p. So that's 0 plus 3p equals negative 12. 3p is negative 12. 0 plus 3p is 3p. Divide by 3. And I get, they cancel. P is negative 4. So the solution for the k is 0. P is negative 4. That's the values of k and p that make. So if you took 0 and put it back right here, you'll get a 2. If you take the negative 4 for p and put it in here and multiply, you probably, I think you get 12 minus 11 is 3. So the 2 and 3 would be the solution to both of these equations. So that's k and p. And again, there's 4 marks for this. So like up here, there's 4 marks for the method and 1 for each answer. Same with here. If you did this method correctly, you get 2 marks. If you got each one of these, you get 2 more marks, so 4 marks altogether. 8 marks in total. That question's a little bit different. I try to do something different to make you think. You can say, how can I get the value of p and k? Well, they are solution to this. So again, you're subbing them in twice to get 2 new equations that you're then going to solve to get the k and the p. Just a little bit different. And total up your page. When you get your page totaled, total of all the pages, put the mark over 40, divide denominator to numerator, get a decimal, get a percent, and hopefully you did well on your review from 1 to 17. The review is done in order of the videos that I did, from video 1 to video 17. And if you like my video, click the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell, because there's more videos coming your way. And also visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content that's on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is called Math Fully Explained. Thank you very much for viewing my video. Bye-bye.